Good afternoon. Happy Sundays. Happy Sunday evenings. I guess we made it to another week, and I get to be joined here by two lovely ladies, my co-hosts, my legs that keep me standing on the Hour of Power. I'm joined here by the attorney, Nichelle. Well, she was just here. She'll come back. As well as I'm joined here by the real Dana. You can also find her on Dana with the Data. If you don't know where to find that at, I will drop that in the link. Actually, it's in the description below, so you don't have to guess. But also, you can check out her channel, check out her content. She always drops new content pretty much every week. So she's pretty consistent. That I will always tell y'all to go over there, check her out. I go over there, I subscribe, I support, I network with her and others. And I would tell y'all, definitely check her out. She's definitely making good content. She's definitely putting it up there. Subscribe to her. Check out her ideology. She's political based. She's political based, and I like that a lot. And she also talks about legacy, ADOS, and also grassroots. So check her out. So you already know who I am. I am BMT, and also we're joined here by another lovely lady. The Butterfly Privilege, Robbie Privilege. Always good to have you here. Hey, Robbie.
What's going on?
What's going on? So, let me make sure I show you Robbie's channel, because I definitely go there. I think I'm pretty much at their channels every week. Like, I think if I'm not doing my work here, then I go over there. Obligated to go over there. Because that's just like that's proper networking. Yeah, and it's proper networking. Robbie Privilege, you can go over there, hear out the Butterfly Initiative, and literally the Army. She talks about family. She talks about mental health, legacy. She talks about stuff for women and accountability. So we're definitely here, and we're pushing off from a title. I love it when we come up with titles that we start off with. What's going on, Mo? Mo, I gotta send you the link. Mo, do you want me to send you the link to your email, or But I definitely want to have Mo and Kelly to come on up. But we're also joined here by attorney Nichelle. Shout out to you, Nichelle. You definitely had the heads in Google shaking and twerking for you. But Nichelle killed it with the Google admins. So shout out to you for that one, Nichelle. Much love to you there. You definitely did the damn thing. I ain't never seen somebody do that. But we definitely want to have the conversation today. Okay, so we definitely want to have the conversation, and literally it goes off of policy over symbolism. And I feel like this is a very impactful question that we on Our Power need to actually discuss, because we're now looking at it as the policy of the Constitution, your rights, practices, how the law. I haven't even talked about literally one family is suing the state of Seattle for $8 billion. Policy versus symbolism. Symbolism as to saying that, the symbolic meaning of certain groups, hashtags, movements. With Kyle Rittenhouse is now a symbol of the Constitution. I don't know how that boy became the symbol of the Constitution, but he is. But literally, we also have it where Kim Klacik, she's the symbol of, hey, get your stuff together in Maryland. Guess what? You can rise up. So we have to ask ourselves the questions about the policy and symbolism. We also have a lot more things that we need to go over. We're going over colon cancer as well as health. Everybody was talking about the Chadwick Boseman, but colon cancer is a big killer in the community. It's actually in the top. I think it's the top 5. It's colon cancer. We also have to talk about the PEBT. I know a lot of people are asking about money, but literally that is actually a portion of your reparations. I believe me and Raw had talked about that. Remember that, Raw? We literally had talked about this
Yep.
not long ago. That is a portion of your stimulus right there from the government that was signed by the USDA. Another thing would be our next topic that we also have is what is killing so many in Lake Charles after Hurricane Laura. A lot of people have been starting to die. A lot of people. I believe Michelle brought that to the forehead, and also um, we have the RNC. Did the RNC properly represent what you want? Did the Republican National Convention represent and say what you wanted to hear, or should they, or should you? It's not their job. I think these are very impactful stuff that we need to talk about here on Our Power. 20 minutes each. Literally, that is 20 minutes out of 5. So you can already do that. That's 1 hour and 20 seconds on each. So, other than that, welcome, ladies. So let's get it cracking. Let me drop the link for Mo because I know he is a representative of the great nation of MAGA. That is for Mo only. Thank you, Mo. So, Michelle, we were having this discussion earlier. Policy over symbolism. Do you think that we're going more for symbolism in over the policy, or is policy being preserved? What's your thought?
I mean, we have to ask ourselves, what policy are we actually discussing when we look at this presidential race that's coming up? I mean, there's not on either side a real push for change. It's with Kim, it is, hey, you guys, look at how these people in Maryland live. And it's all the Democrats' fault that these people live like that. And they have a choice. They could vote for me. I don't know what I do, but I wouldn't be a Democrat. That dog should not hunt. That dog should not hunt in anyone's mind. Vote against.
Y'all here?
I hear.
What do
I
you think?
I
mean,
don't hear her no more. What happened?
Oh, did I?
she
Okay, go
said
ahead.
vote against, and I think she was
Oh, that
waiting
was it.
for.
Oh.
Okay, let me bump out.
All right. Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
So,
we can hear you, Michelle.
Okay,
so
so
if you don't know who Kim Klacik is, Kim Klacik, let me just bring it up to speed. She is the new Candace Owens 3.0. She is, I don't know, Kim, like she's just Kim Klacik. She did a edgy commercial where she walks through the dilapidated streets of Seventh Ward, which is run by Eli Cummings, and she was saying that, look how bad it's gotten. This is what happens when the Democrats run. And literally, if you put me in charge, or don't you want somebody to represent you? And so, guess what? Um, she has been, I guess, walking around. Um, Now, some people feel like, hey, she's not here to help, just to hinder, and actually spread improper lies and stereotypes about us. So, um, what's your thoughts about policy versus symbolism? The real Dana.
Um, I feel as though in the habits and what Black people are showing and doing, but I feel as though that Black people are focused on symbolism instead of actual policy. They're more focused on getting Black Lives Matter painted on a main street in a downtown area in certain cities, metropolitan cities. And these are the very same streets or neighborhoods that Black people do not live in, nor do they own businesses. And that was specifically designed by certain public policies that were passed. So we'll focus on the wrong things, symbolism, whether it's financially, how we spend our money with name brands, relationships, worrying about, if you're married or not, and politics. Whether, don't get involved in the political arena where we live at locally. So you're worried about a hat. We do hashtags. Black Twitter is big on hashtags. We know how to create memes. We're very creative. It's all about symbolism. People are worried about Kamala Harris not being black or mixed, but what does she stand for? You know, um, do she have public policies specifically for black people? She said she was not going to make any. So we are focused on the way something look or sound and not something tangible, and that is a problem. That's why we're gonna have a very hard time progressing in this country if we are just focused on symbolism such as Black Lives Matter hashtags and stuff like that, and not making sure that we are getting legislation passed on a local, state, and federal level, because that affects us more.
I agree. I agree. I think one of the biggest issues, Robbie's not here. One of our biggest issues that I want to hit on is that I feel. Oh, she's back. And I want to pass it to Robbie after I finish what I had to say. As far as to go to the Clem Kasich, I feel like they are pretty much just putting a Manchurian candidate in the position, as they always do. Whenever you need to empathize with a certain group or snag or get certain people to empathize or join you, you go get somebody that looks like you to actually speak. You know what I'm saying? If you got to go speak to the savages, you go grab a savage. Then you walk in there and say, hey, this is what this man has to say. And so long as you bring them in, you can literally see it in the movie Shaka Zulu, where the colonist speaks to Shaka and he says, it amazes me, if what y'all say is so miraculous, why do you need to come here? And if I come to your kingdom, will you be making the same deals with me that you're speaking of? When I talk about the policies over the symbolism, I feel that's the first question that when anybody steps to you, you should be asking, so what's your policies? Where do you stand? Where do you reside in your beliefs? I need to know what policies were you pushing before, and what policies are you trying to push now? If it's stuff that goes anti of my agenda, but I believe everybody on the panel has an agenda. Everybody has an agenda. It's what we live by. Every group has an agenda. Every
No, every group does not have an agenda. I don't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
We don't have an agenda. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair what you're saying. But when I look at it where, and that's true, Dana, we don't really have a directional agenda. We're supposed to. Because when you if I were to go to Rob B's family and say, hey, this is why y'all should listen to me. Am I showcasing that of a water bottle? Say, drink these types of waters, you will see great life. Now it's not about me, because no matter who says it, are you following the symbol of the Christ, or are you following the policy that he stands for? See, there's a difference. People like I said,
right.
So I think that's a big issue that happened. People follow off of the symbolism of that person, not off of the policies that's behind that person, that's pushing their agenda. And so, but I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta push the Robbie. Go ahead, Robbie.
But you have to understand. I tell you guys all the time, I love magic. This is a magic act. November is going to be the prestige. That's when we're going to start to find out what all the misdirection was for. Look at what they're doing. They're throwing black women in your face that are controversial. From Kamala Harris to this lady over here, I can't even be bothered to remember her name, to Cardi B speaking with Joe Biden. Like they're utilizing sexuality, they're utilizing sensationalism to get you all caught up in that, to not pay attention to what's going on with Congress, with the Senate, with these laws getting passed, that they are on vacation chilling with their $400,000 a year while you and your family are stuck hungry. And then they have these random shootings, which are just seem like psyops, really and truly. Like they have all these situations going on to keep everybody in a state of emotional turmoil. And you have COVID, you can't travel, you'll be quarantined. So who is really looking at what laws are being passed and
Mm.
what the underlying principles that these politicians are standing on are about? Nobody, because everybody's in a state of chaotic energy. Do you know what I'm saying? People have to learn
Yeah.
how to slow down,
Hmm.
take a breath, pay attention.
I mean,
Right.
sometimes one of the bills that is currently pending right now is a bill to end qualified immunity. Back
Hmm.
in 1967, the Supreme Court, in response to all the lawsuits coming from the civil rights marches, where the police intentionally let dogs loose, harmed the citizens with water cannons, the Supreme Court made this decision that police should not be sued and held liable under the law that says passed by Congress. It's 42 USC 1983. Anyway, it says any person acting under the color of law shall be liable for any damages caused for violations of constitutional rights. I'm just summarizing it real quick. So basically, if you violated someone's Fourth Amendment right, unreasonable search or seizure, arrest is a seizure. Fifth Amendment right, due process, you summarily executed them on the spot, you violated their Fifth Amendment. If you coerced a confession out of them, that's a violation of the Sixth Amendment right to counsel. Eighth Amendment is cruel and unusual punishment and excessive bail. They decided that the way the law was written, judges are absolutely immune from the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. So they'll just sign any arrest warrant and they'll just sign any search warrant. They're not going to get in trouble for it. But judges just found out that they can be sued under the Eighth Amendment for cruel and unusual punishment and excessive bail. So there's currently a bill before Congress to actually end the qualified immunity that judges and the absolute immunity and the qualified immunity judges have, judges and police have under the Fourth, the Fifth, and the Sixth Amendment, and the First. Let's go ahead and say first, because you can say fuck the police and they cannot arrest you. So those are things that are going on behind the scenes. Now, with all this unrest going on, believe it or not, that bill was passed by a conservative. He was a Republican. He changed over to libertarian to get that bill passed. So there are things that are going on when we talk about policy versus symbolism. You know, people aren't talking about school choice. They're not talking about education. They're not talking about transportation. They're not talking about housing. We're in a housing crisis right now. We're not talking about jobs, access to capital. We're not talking about the food quality. You know, the only thing that's really going on is this narrow take on what it means for legal reform. And most people don't even understand what they're arguing about. That there actually is a bill in Congress right now. It has multiple sponsors. Huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying a lot of people do not understand. While they're out saying Black Lives Matter, the police, we need to back the blue. No, we need to actually sit up there, forget hashtag back the blue, forget. The Constitution was designed to limit government. Police are part of the government. If you believe in limited government, tell your congressman to support ending qualified immunity. If you believe police are out of control and that they need to be more accountable, they treating Black people bad, call your congressman and say, support ending qualified immunity. This should be a bipartisan bill, because this is the one thing that everyone is talking about, in the sense of we all see that there's a problem. Why don't Black people just cooperate and not resist? Well,
I have a question, Nichelle, because right, the Constitution really was developed to limit federal government.
That was before the 14th Amendment was passed.
The purpose of the Constitution was for the limited power for federal government to impose onto the states. And so when we're talking about, let's say the police, you have federal and you have state level. And a lot of times the federal laws is separate from state. So then in
Okay, I'm
each
going to
state,
say this right now. I'm going to say this right now because my
listen,
grandfather.
can you stop
made this
interrupting me and let me finish what I'm saying?
I'm trying to let you finish. If you
No,
were talking,
okay, so then be quiet.
Okay, I will dispute
Okay, so
everything
let
you
me
said
finish
because it's already
talking.
been.
And what I'm saying
you're
in
lying.
conclusion,
But
what
you're
I'm
lying.
saying in conclusion is that some states' laws, when it comes to police, are different than other states. Some states pass laws that protect citizens or take some laws away from the police or whatever. There is a difference when you're talking about federal and when you're talking about state when it has to do with law enforcement. There is some difference there. I'm not saying it doesn't interchange, but there is some difference that has to be put in the equation because the Constitution is so that the states can have their own separate power and not have the federal government impose. That's why when you have Trump, he asked states, do you need me to send federal troops in to help you with these riots? See, the states have to give the federal government permission to come in. That's all I'm saying. And that was from Judge Joe Brown and another ex-police officer. There is a difference when you talk about federal and state level.
Okay. Now, let me go ahead and pass it in the show. I got you. I get it. We have to let people, black people, and thank you, Sister George, for the super chat. You guys, we have to let each other finish. Understand what's coming up in November, what's coming up in November, and shout out to MOT. I definitely wanted you to be here. We're talking about policies and symbolism. You guys, what's coming up with this election is going to greatly change the diaspora of America. I don't care what we think about each other or our differences. This is going to change everything. Like, depending on what side you're leaning on, you might want to make your peace with your God, because some things of the symbolism have hindered certain things from happening, while other things where we could have possibly gotten help in our states. We got a national crisis right now where people are dying. And some people have egos going on where they will refuse help and let their people suffer. So that's what I'm saying. The symbolism versus the policies is a big issue. Shout out to everyone who's coming on in. D. Darrell, we have it. And then I also got to get it over to MOT. Policy over symbolism. Have we been choosing the symbolism of people and hashtags and things over policy? And has that been hurting us, or we literally should be looking to the symbolic meaning or people rather than trusting the policies? Your words. Go ahead. Brother Dieter, are you there? I'm not sure if he's there. Well, I'll kick it over to MOT. What's going on, MOT? Welcome, man of tomorrow. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's going on, right?
Hey, I got unmuted. You muted. You had muted me, but
okay.
MOT go first, and I'll go after MOT. It's fine.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we lost control of this entertainment thing that we have here in this platform. And you have people justifying black people dying at the hands of the police, and that's just out of line, man. It's just that at this point in time is that we're going to have some minimum standards for people to talk about actual political parties, and which is people have to start leading with their policy. What are you trying to overturn, and what are you trying to put in place of it? Because there's a lot of people in this place who think that everything is perfect, which it isn't. But I just think that what we need to do is just come together as equals here and just discuss the overall thing that we would like to change, and just have a couple of votes, and then we just get down to what's actually something that we can all agree on, and then just go from there, from the left and the right. I don't see what's so hard about that. Every group of people does that. All the groups of people I deal with outside of black people, they all do that. They're not even worried about politics. They go in, they do their vote, they go back home, they do their thing. So it's just that we seem to have turned this thing into something else, when it should be very simple for what we're actually asking for here. So that's all I got. Well, I just mute up and just kick back. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much
right.
for saying that. Let me read the super chat that I was just getting. Shout out to Sister George. Always love you, dear, and love you too, Curlin. Peace to you, BMT. Peace to the panel. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Stay blessed for that. Um, you know what I'm saying? I want us to be able to have a conversation on these guys. We got to have a conversation, but let's be respectful of each other. I know we coming from different political backgrounds, but we definitely have to come to a table. Everybody's going to their tables. We're somehow still trying to figure out how to build a table. So we got to get this out. Okay, go ahead, Diderot. Go ahead.
Okay. In regards to this topic, to me, it's quite obvious based on the overcommitment that we as Black people had for the Democratic Party. We have voted based on symbolism, and the Democrats have not created any substantial laws or policies or legislation, I may say, that exclusively and effectively has healed anything that is wrong or solved anything within the Democratic Party. I mean, within the Black community. They have failed to do so. And we have given them overwhelming support for the last 45 to 50 years, in which nothing has been done. I don't think any Democrat or any Republican, whether you're conservative or liberal, can talk about policies that exclusively help Black people or exclusively reduce or solve problems in our community. Every time someone talks about something in regards to exclusively helping us, they come up with an issue of, well, we got to help everybody. We have to do something for everybody. However, we can point out legislation that Obama created that exclusively helped immigrants and exclusively help the LGBT community. Okay? And the problem is that we have allowed people to sell us a bill of goods without any policy to back up why we should be supported. We should not give any loyalty to any group of people or any group or political party that's promising to do things. I mean, I'm 42 years of age, and I remember when I was 12, they were talking about the same issues that happened back in the early 90s or the same issues now. There was police brutality then, there was police brutality now. Poor education, poor schools, lack of access to capital, you know, all of the same things we have in the same issues now. And these issues cannot be because the fact that Black people don't want to do better. Because that's a lie. We do want to do better. We do want the best for our children. We do want better education and better neighborhoods. But the bottom line is that I'm at this point now where every 4 years it's the same problem, the same issues. We're promising this, we promise that. The Black politician has failed us in the Democratic Party. The Black politician in the Republican Party has failed us because they lack policy, or they lack political ideas to even bring to the Republican Party to help Black people exclusively. There's these certain I would say conservative Black politicians and figureheads that parade around YouTube and throughout CNN and Fox News and so forth. They always lead with the fact that it's a problem of Black people overcommitting to the Democrats, or we have a cultural issue. It's always an issue that we must help. We must do something. It's almost like we're the problem. And for some reason, if you vote Republican, all of a sudden, if you follow through with the fact of smaller government and going with capitalism and so forth, that's supposed to automatically just kill the issues that go on, that the systemic racism and all the things that have hindered Black people from overcoming for the last 60 or plus years that we've been desegregated and so forth. No party itself has done anything collectively on either side to exclusively help us. They sell us the same bill of goods every 2 to 4 years, And we have overwhelmingly, through symbolism, because we love to see black faces in certain places that don't work for us. Kamala Harris is not going to work for us. Barack Obama didn't work for us. I mean, and the Black Caucus. To me, that's a group of black politicians that we have. To me, I feel like we have poorly, um, as far as criticized the lack of anything they have done for us. Why do we even have a Black Caucus? What is the Black Caucus doing? We want to talk about the as far as the president, as far as his as far as the rate in which people actually like what he's doing or dislike or and so forth. What about black people actually rating the success rate of the Black Caucus, who's been around for God knows how long and haven't done anything for our community? So I say that we need to change in regards to policy. It doesn't matter what group or what political institution it comes from. As long as those policies benefit us, that's what we need to look at. We should not have permanent friends. We only should have permanent policy, permanent interests. So we need to get away from the symbolism and start looking at what can you do for me in exchange for our vote. Period.
So the next one that we have to hit at, and I mean, hopefully we're gonna shoot at this real quick, with 2 minutes each. Rebuttals. Did the RNC, the Republican National Convention, properly represent what you want? I can tell you right now, and looking at it, they've been pushing off a lot about the Constitution, literally about policies of you're getting all out of your check, the Social Security. We won't be doing they're going to be putting away some of how back then they used to take that out of your check. That won't be happening. They're saying that you should your check. Talk we had raw on me and you and Danny, and so that pay into system won't have to always. Some people like that. As far as about getting those who are not like you out here, a lot of low income being pushed out. They're going to be pushed out. A lot of talks about school systems that are going to be getting integrated into schools. If the system is failing, then you most likely be getting integrated into another system. So that means a school right closer into your area can probably get swapped. The funding from your community and go to another community. And that way, that community has to pick up the pace. There was a whole slew of things on. I'm not cool with a lot because we live in a microcosm universe in the black community. What affects one the all, whether we like it or not. So saying that we're going to push out this group of people to build better homes, where do those people go? We can't say that's not true because that's happening right now in Atlanta. The bigger they make the stadium, the housing that are predominantly blacks in those areas, they're having to uproot and leave. Those housing projects are being taken and they're being pushed out because they can't stay there. So they have to get relocated. They've already handed out certain types of vouchers for schools. Some schools have been shut down. Mostly a lot of low-income schools have been shut down. So some people are fine with this. But those who cannot compete will be getting swallowed up. So, question.
Well, Joe, do we want low-income cloisters? Do we want that? Do we want those vouchers to be portable? Do we want school choice? That you can sit up there and take your housing voucher and move to a nicer area, get an apartment, and the tax subsidies will follow you and your child to that school or a charter school. Don't we want some mobility for our race?
That's a good question. No, that's a good question you're asking, Nichelle. The only problem with that is this: it's like you're trying to move somebody that literally was in second grade into like the fifth grade, and you know dang well, like, well, hold up, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep up. Like, even if you move me into this area, how I'm going to do or compete in that area is going to be totally different. You know, we've already. I'm just saying, I don't know, but because what I'm saying that's literally happening now. So people saying that they're going to be happy to get more out of their check now, but eventually you're going to get old, and there's not going to be a lot on Social Security for everybody to pull from. You understand me? So
Right.
who does that fall on? If you're not paying into no medical, then the onus is, hey, we're getting people who are getting more sicker. So where do they go? No offense, but
So if I
health ain't the best.
Which is the reason why I don't see. Which is the reason why I don't see that Social Security piece ever even going through. They're talking it now, you know, to where because it's red meat to their base, but that'll never happen in Congress. I guarantee you that'll never happen in Congress.
Oh, it's getting pushed.
They can push it all they want. That's not going to happen.
You want to know how I know it got? You want to know how I know it got pushed? Because Obamacare got pushed, where literally that got pulled out of your check. You didn't have a say so. They just did that. So
Well,
yeah, but this is the thing.
what they're talking, based on what you said, what they're talking about doing is actually taking away the medical safety net for old folks. That ain't
Who's
gonna
pushing
fly.
at the Republicans?
Yeah, that ain't gonna fly.
Right. And if
That's not gonna fly.
I think Obamacare had to go to the Supreme Court and get a ruling.
Yeah,
it got
Obamacare is added, but
had
it didn't take away because if you're not gonna take the Medicaid, Medicare, and all this stuff out of people's check, you're basically taking it away. How is he gonna get it? If you're gonna say, well, it's not gonna come from out of the payroll check, how is he gonna get paid? So you're effectively taking it away. Do you think that's gonna happen?
Wasn't this Social Security issue is not just an issue under Trump. It's been a Social Security issue for a while now, because I even heard, even under when Obama was elected president, they were saying from my generation, hell, before I even get to my kids, but my generation, by the time it's time for me to collect, we probably won't even have no money there.
And that's because
Right,
And I'm putting money into it.
they keep taking Social Security money, and both parties do this. They take Social Security money and use it for other things.
Right. And that's both parties, right.
Both
And they're
parties. do
trying
that.
to destabilize Social Security, and they're telling you anything that you want to hear right now so that they could get the votes, which takes it back to what I said at the beginning of the show. This is a magic trick. This is about destabilizing the dollar. This
Yes,
is about
they want
going
to privatize everything.
right, one currency. This is about getting ready for Hunger Games to be a reality, and you get taken care of according to your zone in the country. They've been mapping it out by zones for us
But
for a while.
I get that, and also, but I will say this: I don't want Section 8 people shouldn't be allowed to live in higher income neighborhoods.
Why? Because some people on Section 8 make a
Now-
lot of money.
Huh?
Some people on Section 8 make a lot of money.
They shouldn't be getting Section 8 if they make a lot of money, because that's for people who don't make a lot of money. And then, but also when you look at heavily democratic cities, it's predominantly Black, and it's predominantly people who are middle class or living below the poverty line. So they are the Section 8 people that do live lumped together, but at the same time, if it's a low quality of living, then you need to push for your local politicians to do something about it. Like, for instance, in Newark, they are building a lot of new developments specifically for low income people. When they was tearing down all the projects and putting up like nicer little townhomes or whatever, that was to put those people back in there. So,
Right.
so do that. What I'm saying is redevelop where you live at, because I feel as though, honestly, yeah, it is a type of lifestyle that in general people with Section 8 do portray, and I do not want to come home to that.
Yeah, but I mean, also Section 8 helps people that are lower income with programs that fund them to buy their own properties. And I think it's really, I don't think it's cool to say that people in Section 8 don't belong in good neighborhoods, because every neighborhood should be a good neighborhood. This is America. And
Well, the
that's
working class black tea do not get Section 8. Sorry.
Exactly. And
what
you can.
happened.
We pay for it.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't want to live around people that in Section 8. And whenever I'm looking for a house or hire an apartment, one of the first things I see or one of the first things I look at is, do they accept Section 8? And if they accept Section 8, it's an X for me.
But that's
Right.
just continuing on the redlining rhetoric, right? Because that's really how Section 8
Not really.
actually came into effect.
That's
Because
no, that's not how redlining.
Yeah,
That
I
has nothing to
won't.
do with
I
redlining.
won't. You're right. I no, that's not redline. I won't. No, that's not redlining right there.
Likewise, I don't
That's
want the white people on Section
that's
8
not
living around
redlining.
me either. They
Right.
ghetto too.
Now I will say with the Section 8, you can tell. I don't know about anywhere else, but here in Chicago, you can tell where they want to funnel people because those places are, and they advertise. We take Section 8, but the ones that don't advertise where they take Section 8, those are the areas where they don't want them.
Right.
And any landowner or any apartment or any person that owns an apartment building, anything like that, they're coming up under high pressure to no longer accept Section 8 because the community.
If you're a landlord, you properly manage your property.
redlining, creating an area where they want to keep a certain
really.
One at a time. One at a time, guys. I don't want to have to mute.
Which is
I gotta
why it's
get
not
it
a good idea to take
I
Section
gotta
8.
get it over to Kai, and then I gotta get it over to D Darrell in the show.
Those
Kai
of us
cooking,
that
honey.
take Section 8,
You
we're
Kai,
making
you
it easy
cooking?
for us to be
Go ahead and
redlined.
cook, baby. Go and cook. Go and cook. Go and cook. Go and cook. I ain't got no problem with that. Okay, let me get it up to D Darrell. D Darrell, you heard what's going on. A lot of things are looking at probably being changed around, redone from what I named. Some people were like, whoa, hey, are you trying to bring back segregation or redlining again? Other people are like, nah, man, like, this is good. We need to actually force these people out of their comfort zone. What's your thought on this? Like, some people think that, hey, I don't think our people are ready. Some people are like, nah, they need to get out of there. They need to get off their ass. What's your thoughts on that, Diderot? And then you're definitely next. Okay,
I can
Diderot.
multitask.
All right, go, Kyle. You ready?
I will. Go ahead, Kai. Go ahead.
All right, go
Can
ahead.
you hear me? BMT, can you hear me?
Now I can. Now I can.
Okay. I apologize for that. But what I was saying was that give me 1 second. Let me you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. My point is that I don't think redlining has ever stopped. It's just done in more sophisticated manners. In
Yes.
regards to as far as Section 8 and putting people into certain areas and so forth. I started noticing this working in mental health and working in social service areas probably about maybe 15, 20 years ago, where I saw people who were getting Section 8 vouchers for upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 that priced them to be able to get, high-end level housing and going to better schools. I'm a little mixed on that particular situation because I've seen it work and I've seen where it didn't work. I've seen situations when I've seen situations in which a single black mother, family of maybe 4 or 5 kids, she doesn't work or lacks, maybe doesn't have the I would say tangible or effective job or skills to actually earn a decent living, could not afford to live in these particular spaces. But she incorporated that her kids, behave and have a good education. And I've seen where it worked, where those kids were able to get a better quality of education in a safer environment. And the kids were better for the fact that they were able to live in a better area. But I've also seen situations in which someone in the same case got kicked out because of doing all kind of egregious things that was not in line with the apartment complex or the condo policies and so forth, bringing other people in, suspected people coming in and out. And that's and I'm saying that not just in regards to being stereotypical to to black women or black families, but I've seen this with white, Hispanic, and other communities also, where I've seen a mixture of people being in the same economic situation. Usually, it's usually a single female who lacks education, who's been a teen mother and so forth, and over time has continued to have different children and so on. And I've seen different people handle this situation differently. So I'm a bit mixed about it. I think it should be on a case to case basis. I do think, particularly for those, the purpose, and I think that what we have to understand is the purpose of Section 8 is supposed to be for temporary relief, so that you can get back on your feet, so you won't need it. And I think
Right.
Section 8 is not supposed to be meant for you to be on for 10, 20 years. So I personally would say there needs to be some limitations on that. If someone is going to go into areas where they typically could not afford, there needs to be some limitations, and there needs to be a process in which you're measuring improvement in themselves, so that one day they don't need it. I mean, we just can't keep renewing these vouchers, and you got Section 8 for 25 years. That's not progress. What that does is that creates a culture of people thinking that they can just depend on free housing, and you can do other things. You can be irresponsible with your sexuality and your reproduction and so on, and you can continue doing those things because you can live for free. And I think that has been detrimental to our culture. So
And I will say this,
I
Darrell, I want to ask Darrell something,
yes,
because you'll be able to answer this. I will say this as far as Section 8, like if you have a disability, or if you have to take care of somebody with a disability, which hinges you from making money because you have to tend to that family member or that child more of your time, then that's understandable. Like you're definitely going to need Section 8 or some type of programs or assistance with resources. But just because you're poor, and yes, the state helps you, that's for you to get a leg up and start doing for yourself, not to be on it for all these years. But like you said, it should be somewhat of a case by case basis, but at the same time, it should not be a lifestyle.
no, it should not be a lifestyle. And I've seen people look at that as a matter of fact. I'm actually glad we brought this up, because I just had a situation where I had this single mother of 3 kids. She's been on. She lost all 3 of her children because of getting into a wreck in that wreck that she got, when they tested her, she had opioids in her system. So she ended up one of her children that had a mental disability, as far as having a diagnosis, had to go to a hospital. One of the other kids went to a family member, and another one went to another family member. Okay. Now, this is a mother in her probably late 20s. I'm going to say about 28. She got a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and maybe an 8-year-old. So she was a teen. She had children real young. This woman, pretty much lack of education, dropped out of school around the 9th grade, had no other means of trying to improve herself, not even trying to get a GED, not even looking at getting a certification. When talking to her about all these different things, because I do this in therapy, when I have people that are referred to me through social service agencies such as Department of Family Protective Services and Health and Human Services, so to speak, these are the stories you hear. And so in that, because I'm supposed to be, I'm supposed to reinforce self-development and improvement and so on. When I ask questions of these particular things that we're talking about, they're lost. They never thought of those things. They never had any admiration to go back and get a high school diploma, to maybe have a certification, or even if well enough, even think of even going to college. If that's something that's not even in their mindset. And so in talking to her, she got approved for a voucher that was $2,200. And you can live very well in the state of Texas as far as housing with something as much as with a maximum of like $2,200. And so she, even though she's living in this particular space and so forth and can afford to do so, her mentality is the issue. And so the same issues that led her to have the issues with keeping her children, because she's trying to get her children back. And so they helped her get housing, because they were not going to give her children back unless she had housing, because she's basically homeless living with other family members. And so by her having that voucher, she's able to get her children back, and they can live in adequate, pretty good housing, so to speak. But the mentality, as far as her continuing to date and be with guys that do her no good, that actually sell and give her the drugs that she was taking, that would be the issue. So you can give them all the vouchers you want, but if you have certain behaviors that are going to be adverse to you continuing to keep that and build on yourself, she's going to, I give her 2 to 3 years, she's going to be evicted because of something, because of behaviors that contributed to her needing it in the first place. And so those are the things that need to be addressed, because you can't just you just can't heal this just with money alone. There has to be changes in your mindset and so on.
Okay, so since the government can't really change mindset, we can pay for someone to go to counseling and see if that counseling will help them. But as far as the government itself being able to do certain things, right now we have a $5 billion a year Section 8 program. Many landlords are dependent on that Section 8. They are dependent on it because that's a guaranteed check. I've said this before. I have one friend that has 50 Section 8 houses in the Dallas area. Now, these are little, bread and butter, they are 3 bedrooms, 16 to 1,800 square foot houses. They are in different neighborhoods. I think she has a couple there about 2,000. But anyway, each one of those houses, every month, she's getting $1,500 every month. So when you look at somebody who is getting over $50,000 every month as a landlord, she doesn't want to have to go out and find new tenants because their membership in the program has lapsed. So as long as they follow the rules, they can stay there for 10 years. She don't care. So that's also, we have to consider that in landlords who sit up there and they say, okay, you're on Section 8. So you're only going to be able to get these proceeds for 18 months. Okay, in another 18 months, I'm going to have to go look for another tenant. They don't like that. The businesses behind that.
You mean to tell me, a landlord doesn't like to work with tenants?
You have to seek your own.
A landlord doesn't want to work with tenants.
We're not doing that. Come on, just talk.
But what is the turnaround? Because you have some Section 8 people that are not good tenants. And then you have some landlords that do accept Section 8 and they're slumlords because they just want the money. Right.
But so, you have people that are not on Section 8 that are not good tenants. And you can easily being a homeowner, having investment properties, it is a lot of work, period. What is that feedback? Because that's not me.
Yeah, you got feedback. There you go.
On the show.
A lot of landlords, when you have investment properties and you renting out properties, it's a headache, period. But from what I know, with people who development companies or people who own multiple investments, the ones on the higher end, they don't have no issues. But Section 8 landlords, they're either slum landlords or they have a damn headache on their hands. Yeah, that money is guaranteed, but you're dealing with all types of people with all walks of life.
And I can tell you, those developers in that surrounding area, they don't want landlords like that. They don't want them because they don't want them. And the reason why they don't want them, because they may be getting that guaranteed money, but the quality of tenants is lowering the overall property value around that whole area, that neighborhood.
Right, and that's why they ask for
that they don't want it. And those landlords, I'm telling you, those type of landlords, they get known across the city. They get known.
Right.
If you're a landlord and that's all that you have, or the mass majority of your clientele comes from basically vouchers, I'm telling you right now, those type of landlords, they find it harder. They go out to the suburbs now. At least
Right.
in Chicago, it's fine. I've talked to a few of them. They said it's fine. They're finding it harder and harder to buy these properties because if they have a history of having those doggone that's where their clientele comes from is those vouchers. Now, I'm gonna say this: if you're a landlord or if you're a property developer, whatever the case may be, and if you got a problem with actually going out and going to get tenants, then you shouldn't be a property owner. You shouldn't own property. I'm sorry. Because
Right,
that's
because over
still
here,
illegal.
that's all people are doing is renting, and then depending on like all these new developments that they're building up here, it's not for Section 8. Even these opportunity zones is they're only mandatory 10% to fill it up with um average income or below income. Not even Section 8. You have to if you meet income requirements, and that's only 10%. The rest of those apartments, they could put it at the rental income rate, not the area, but just the overall national income rate, which means it's going to be above of what is probably actually worth. So they could say, okay, I'm in a tri-state area, a 1 bedroom in a luxury building is going to run you like $2,000. But if it's an opportunity zone luxury building, they have to have at least 10% where they go by your income. So that would be the AMI. And so, but that's only 10%. And those still are not people on Section 8. So you
Right.
still have middle class and upper class, but I'd rather have that middle and upper than someone on Section 8.
Exactly. That's
So let me
what they
let me push you to the next topic.
restrictive.
Hang on, perfect. I'm gonna give you the next topic, and I'll let you lead off.
I don't get to say nothing.
Huh? Did you say anything, Kai?
Can I
Yes,
say
ma'am.
something?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't know if you got to talk. I didn't get to hear you got to talk. But go ahead, love. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. All right. I hope Dana changes her mind one day about what
won't.
she said about Section 8 people.
Well, when I own my building,
You
I
never
will be
know.
having Section 8,
You
but that's
never
going to be on
know.
the low end neighborhood.
See?
No. But I also said
Okay,
I
see,
also said
but
low
she's
end
willing
neighborhood.
to
But then I'm
try.
also going to have property on the high end where they're willing to do in Section 8.
Lord.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, like with Section 8, like I saw T Black say, Black T, I'm sorry, Black T. Okay, sorry about that, Black T. He be making some good points. I'm reading what he's saying. It is everywhere. I think some people we tend to generalize who these people are, and the more we generalize, just shows me the less that we know, because there's statistics that will show too. I feel like we just keep thinking it's Black people, it's impoverished people. Yes, it is for low income, and it does get capped, and it's not for people that don't work. It's for people that work as well. You can only make up to a certain amount of money to even be accepted with Section 8. And I know for a fact that it's helped a lot of people out. They're not always trash. Like, you can get trash people anywhere. You might think, oh, well, you're not really paying your own rent, so maybe you won't care as much about the building you live in. I still feel like that depends on the person. Just like you might have a bad landlord, but that don't mean that, you can't get a good one. So it's just kind of, you got to just pick them well. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people in my family, they own their houses. They rent houses, apartments out. Some got tired of being a landlord because of what they got to deal with, regardless of Section 8. You get all type of people, all type of personalities, and all type of lifestyles, and they go and reside in your house. As a landlord, it's only our business to get our money and make sure our property is straight. Other than that, it just goes deeper into discrimination.
Right.
And it's legal to discriminate, and it's really straight up discrimination.
Exactly.
But I just want to say, but even before, back in the 1940s, the Federal Housing Administration seemed to have racial views even back then, and they're the ones that help with Section 8 currently. I don't know if y'all realize that. You look it up. There's a whole lot of backing with federal housing that's been racial. It's been set up to racially segregate. It's been set up to keep Blacks and Hispanics in those projects.
We do realize that.
I think she's going low. Her voice
Right to a
low.
GI Bill, and so.
No, let me just knock this out. Let me just knock this out, but I got to get to the topic. And first of all, shout out to Ricardo Rodney for the $2.99. Every dollar is much appreciated. I've already reached more than over the goal for I'm buying masks for children with parents going back to school. So y'all have definitely helped out. Thank you for those who have super chatted, those who have donated, cash, app, PayPal. Every dollar, every cent is appreciated. Like I said, my kids ain't going to school, but that's my choice. People don't have a choice, and they don't live in Section 8. They don't. They some do, and they don't have. Some I know. So I know. I think this one complex, all the women there work for Comcast, but they're all in Section 8. Yet they all make like $20 an hour. Somehow they're all in Section 8, and they all work from home. Like, and none of their kids are going home. Like, none of their kids are going to school, but they make some bank. But Section 8, I think we definitely do have a negative connotation. Like, I think when we think of it, we thinking of Boys in the Hood. You know, the movie Boys in the Hood, or any of those stereotypical, like with the Kim Klasick commercial. Like, we'll picture the most dirtiest, dingiest thing. You don't think of the trailer park. You think of Section 8. You don't think of a nice suburban town, which I could show y'all that are Section 8 up. We got things going on. So we don't think of those places, but I know some pretty nice houses that literally they're Section 8. Like, actually, a lot of veterans that make money, they live in Section 8. They don't have to, but they know that, damn it, I'm a veteran. I got a disability over 40 to, I think it's 40%. I think Perfect could probably look it up too. Literally, if either me or him wanted to go in Section 8, we could just walk into a building or our BA, and they will literally take us probably within that same month. And we know we wait way more than that. But they will take us. It literally just applies to who
But
can
you're a military.
I know, but I'm saying like
anybody could be on Section 8. And what
Right.
I was going to say before is a person on Section 8 is more likely to treat your property in the appropriate manner because they're having random inspections where the people that
And that's a negative.
are coming to look. And if they mess up your property, they are usually unable to continue on the program. And if it's something that they need, then they don't want to lose out on that. People that rent from you directly will tear your stuff up because they'll be like, well, you have the security deposit.
That's not true. Because in Raw B, you got a lot of nerve, honey. We from the tri-state area. Stop.
Where
I come from.
Do we realize Section 8 makes it very easy to be discriminated against and gentrified? Right. No.
That's
You're right
true,
about that.
Yeah.
It does.
Whenever, I just want y'all to understand, before we go to the next one, whenever they were showing those movies, Good Times, the TV shows and all that stuff, those were people that they were showing in Section 8. They were always showing black men and women in Section 8. Hide the black man in the...
Those are people in housing. There's a difference between
No. But what he's saying with that question, that was like a rhetorical question, BMT. What he's saying is, if you look at these areas, take Newark, for instance. That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all saying, oh, majority of people, they're not bad on Section 8. Where I come from, the majority on Section 8 are trifling. But if you look at gentrification, that's where the projects used to be.
Yeah,
that's where they would gentrify at, because if you got Section 8, they know they could push you out and you could go somewhere else.
Well, yeah,
So that's that, because Section 8 lowers that value until they push you out, build something more expensive, and then the value goes up. But they're going to target what Perfect Blackness is saying. They target those areas where you have high level Section 8, because I could push these people out. They got Section 8, they go find another place to live, and they be scattered everywhere. Look at Chicago. The reason why it's so bad, because those projects that they tore down, they didn't build new projects up to put them in. They tore it down, and
it's called the Caprini Green. That whole area
before
over
those
there,
projects got down.
And all but y'all are talking about Section 8 as if
that was right near the airport. But but what I'm saying is, before those projects got tore down, Chicago wasn't that bad. Like, it wasn't what it is now, because it was concentrated in one area, the crime. But now if you're scattered everywhere, you got different gangs on different streets.
Yep. And a lot of them now are in the suburbs, in Cal City, in Markham, and all that. It's real easy to get Section 8 in those areas. But the problem is, in those areas, the infrastructure is not there.
But
The
let me
infrastructure's not
let,
there.
let me start this off for you. Perfect. I got to get to the next one. I got to push
All
it to the next one. Okay. I get you what you're saying, and also in respect of Chadwick Boseman and everything. Um, one of the biggest killers in the African American community is colon cancer. Actually, it's in the top three. Damn, I thought it was the top 10 or top five. It's the top three. It literally kills us more than anything. Uh, we've had movies and everything, all Big Mama's House, Soul Food, everything else. Actually, United States is the second most common, but for African Americans, it's the third. African American bears disproportionate burden. Mute up, please.
You're gonna have to mute D Darrell.
Okay, okay. Let me get this. I
Yeah,
got
you want to mute D the rail.
all right,
Drop him off.
all right. There we go. There we go. Thank you. So, literally, I know everybody was doing the Chadwick Boseman goddamn memorial prayer speech, Wakanda forever, but I'm like, y'all literally are missing it. Colon cancer does not have an age. Technically, I've already got my colon checked. My dad had to push me. Thank goodness. Melissa and different other people had to push me. I had went without using the bathroom for 6 days. I thought, oh well, not a big deal. But it was a very bad time for me. But literally, that's why I brought up this topic. Because right now with PEBT coming out, and that's a stimulus, we've seen that a lot of people are dying, but we don't report about it with colon cancer. We see them, we think they're strung out on crack. We think that they're doing some type of drug. We're starting to see people have failed kidneys and stuff. That's why I also brought it behind the Section 8 and the different proportions of the community of the food deserts, the eating lifestyle, the way how we do our intakes and how we live, drinking, smoking. That all attributes to the colon cancer. Plus, also now they're handing out PEBT. Can we use these things effectively to, one, educate our people, and two, we're also looking at it as, hey, with the schools opening back up, that food is really not the best food to keep on eating. It's really not.
It's basically fast food.
It's yes. It's really not. So is it time that we go hire Mama Dana and say, yo, we will give you the PEBT cards, you make the food, and we just have it, you educate the children? Or do we send the kids back to school and just run them EBT cards up? Because they are handing out them in math. PEBT, I will pull up the diagnostics for y'all for PEBT if y'all don't know what they are. But literally, that is a part of the stimulus for low income people, mind you, to eat, to be able to afford food for the pandemic. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Perfect. Then after that, I'm gonna shoot it over to Robbie. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, in terms of the colon cancer thing, I myself, I was tested begrudgingly because I had to be. Guys don't want to get that tested, but I'm recommending for guys that once you get around 35 years old, you may want to start think about going to go get tested on that. My wife will tell you that I'm real big on against eating fast food and even certain types of food, not too much fried food. And a lot of this is a lot of these cancers and health ailments are it can be traced back to our diets. I mean, we're not eating right. Not forget about the fact we're not living right. We're not eating right, and there we go. So now, if you're going to give these kids EBTs, or and these schools, it's basically fast foods. And my daughter, I'm in football season now, and I'm coaching. So whenever I have my daughter, I make her go across the street with me, so to do exercise with the kids, with the boys, because I'm noticing that her, she's starting to gain a little weight. So, our diet is not the best. It just isn't. And I'm a big advocate of cooking your food. cooking your food at home, and not eating too much of highly prepared food for you, too much fast food, too much boxed food, because you eat a lot of boxed food that can be the same thing. So and going to the gym, working out. We don't do that enough either. Getting enough physical activity and getting enough working out, especially for us guys. We need to be in the gym. So I mean, that's what I would have to say on that one.
Now, what? Okay, so we're also looking at it where the PEBT. Do you know what that is, or have you heard of that?
I haven't heard of it. No, it's some was a different
Okay,
type of EBT card, a different type of link
right.
card. Or were they giving
So,
it to the kids?
well, it's supposed to be for families that if pretty much like my children, I prefer my kids to go to a school that they kind of um, mirror them. I feel better that I have teachers that look like my children teaching my children. I know
Hmm.
people think that Joe, you're wrong for doing that, but I'd rather see a black man or
No, you're right.
woman
You're right.
teach my children. Some people called me and got mad at me about saying that out loud, but I will take that with me to the bridge, to the cross. That I would rather see a man or a woman like me teaching my children. I know what it's like to have a white woman tell me you won't be nothing in life, and trust me, that shit hurts and stings.
And they're teaching a
So,
bunch of agendas. The people that are
so,
non-black are teaching a bunch of agendas to our kids.
so it's called what is PEBT. If y'all don't know what that is, it is pretty much this was actually pushed. Actually, it was passed by the government during the pandemic first shut down. They already understood that. Guess what? The majority of children do not eat at home; they eat at school. Majority of families cannot afford to actually feed their kids. Is that not crazy? Um, so they feed them at home. So what happens is because the schools keep shutting down, they've been sending um they sent EBT cards to children. Some cards can have up to $256 on them,
Oh
but
Lord.
the spending, listen, once it's gone, it's gone. We have not found a way. And also the eating habits, children have been getting more unhealthily obese as well as more sick. Um, they're getting more sicker faster. They're catching more mental health issues. They're dealing with autism. They're not getting better. Is it,
So that
is it is it time that we might need to start pulling our children more so towards our type, a new type of dietary plan? Are you understand what I'm saying? But we're hearing a lot for adults, but we're not hearing more so of a dietary plan for children. And believe it or not, it is possible to put your children on a dietary plan um, to actually protect them and actually help them. We're just looking at one of them, but I will definitely like to talk to Rob B. So, what's your thought on the colon cancer and the PEBT about maybe about our children and how we should be dealing with this for our children's health?
Well, first I want to address the colon cancer. It's not just men that need to be getting checked for colon cancer. It is also women. I have a
that's
friend
facts.
right
Yep.
now that she just got through going through the colonoscopy process. She also has a mass in her breast, so I've been dealing with that behind the scenes. You have to know your family's medical history. If you have any type of cancer, then you need to be making your physicians aware because you will not have the ability to skip those checkups and do them every 3 to 5 years. You need to be doing them every year, every other year. As far as feeding and protecting our children, what I do with my children is a lot of times they don't even know they're getting vegetables because I'll use a veggie pasta or I'll buy one of those vegan replacement things like it's a cauliflower really, but they're thinking it's a spaghetti product. You understand what I'm saying? We have to definitely imbibe more fruits and vegetables into our children's diet. My children drink tea made with soursop tea leaves. My children get smoothies. These things are necessary for children. Yes, yes, I understand to the parents that are listening. Your kids want the pizza. You can make them a cauliflower pizza. It's just as tasty and it's 10 times healthier. Your children want snacks, they want sugar. Of course they do. But when you give your children an excessive amount of sugar, you're also preparing their brain to be addicted to drugs moving forward because sugar's effect on the brain is very similar to cocaine. You
Wow.
gotta
Hmm.
have to take a mindful look and you have to really it takes a lot of energy and effort to study and understand, but you really have to start to look at nutrition. You need to be looking at the FDA guidelines because the school is given like maybe $2 per child for their breakfast and their lunch and their snack, and they make it enough and they follow a guideline because they have to. A lot of parents have this PEBT, and it's going to go relatively quickly because they're going to buy Eggos and Tostinos and juice. That's not going to sustain. And also, what I am very upset with the RNC and the DNC about is no one is addressing the current food shortages. If you can, you need to make sure you start getting big bags of rice, like 20, 40 pounds of rice. You need to be having some beans. Start a vegetable garden because you can survive on rice and beans and vegetables. And it's actually healthy and good for you. It's a lot of good, clean protein. You know, I'm gonna start getting more into that in the fall because now that my children are actually going back to school, I have more time to share with you guys the nutritional guidelines and what I put my children through and like what I try to make them maintain inside of the home. Like our children are getting extremely obese. They don't go outside. We let our children watch television all day and play video games. That's not conducive to a healthy mindset. It's not conducive to a healthy child. Push books in your children's hands. Send them outside. Let them get some sunlight. You actually need the sun to synthesize a multitude of vitamins that you ingest daily. If you eat these foods without actually synthesizing them, it's pointless. You might as well go on ahead and lick a lollipop because that's the same nutritional, value you're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
No. You bring up a good point. Also, I wanted to show y'all this because I'm about to pass it over to Dana.
Wait,
Um,
'cause, I have to go. Thank you for having me. I love everybody on the panel and shout out to the chat. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna see you a little later.
Where you
okay.
going?
Hubby is calling
Oh,
me.
I know that's right.
All right, bye, y'all.
I,
I will. I
so
will. I will say this. I will say this. When I'm feeding, when my daughter's with me, because I know she doesn't like to eat vegetables. I don't. I don't. I don't do the spaghetti vegetables or whatnot. I just she just gonna eat those vegetables if she ain't gonna eat nothing else, and she eats them. She ain't no other choice. But go ahead. Yeah, I just can't. I'm not gonna trick her. You either gonna eat those green beans, or we're gonna have problems.
I
I'm
mean,
like, damn, Daddy, can you put a little bit of salt on it?
I grew up in a household like that where
Just
I had
sea
to eat
salt.
liver and onions and rice
And I make
and
her she eat the vegetables first. That's the first thing she eats.
I
Yeah,
grew up.
we had to do that when I was growing up. I used to hate that shit.
Yeah, I had to. I grew up in a household like that, and I'm passing it over to Dana. I'm making sure y'all know what this is, but some of y'all definitely can use this. What is the pandemic EBT? Mind you, this is literally was passed. I want you to
The
understand.
Delanto plasma extended to. Wait a minute. So first of all, I applied. I wanted some food stamps, honey. It was like I made too much. First of all, I'm unemployed because of COVID.
Yeah, you might
So I
want
was
to.
like, let me get food stamps. I was excited because Whole Food take food stamps. And it was like you have to make under 1,000 a month. And I'm saying to myself, who the fuck could live off
What?
of 1,000 or
What?
less a month? And maybe because I don't have
Section
small
8.
kids, just me, right? Section 8. So I don't even qualify. So I don't give a damn if people get it and I couldn't get it. So, and I wanted it so bad because that saved me money, but whatever.
Now now the thing about it is that this was passed during the nation closed down. Now everybody has been asking for the second stimulus check, right? And they were saying like, "Where's our money?"
Can you
Well,
click on New Jersey?
you can click on the what? New
Click on New
Jersey.
Jersey.
All right, I'll go. Let me go.
You
That's
know,
why I'm glad.
Whole Foods taking EBT. That's a good thing. The problem is
Now, The
Most
thing
people
about it, I
that
want
live,
you to understand that every stimulus don't always have to come as a check of money. There's different types of stimulus. Uh, medical, food, and literally, financial, which is
Sorry,
money.
real quick, BMT. Can you email me that? And second, Black T, you know how much money I paid over the years into the state, federal, all that pension, social security. So that's my money that I want back now that I'm laid off. So
Lord have
yeah,
mercy.
I'm trying to benefit off the system I paid tenfolds into.
I
Play
will
with
say
me.
that. So, um, the supplemental nutrition program assistance, every state literally, the minute they started handing out them, but I want you to understand, these are some big checks that these states are grabbing for because they're like, well, shit. Again, shout out to Rob B. There is a food shortage. I'm not sure people know that, but we did have to kill off quite a bit of livestock from COVID.
Let me ask you a question about this. Is this, you said pandemic EBT, that means that the federal government is giving states extra funding to give people EBT who are
Uh,
laid off due to coronavirus?
who are laid off, can't go to school, college, have
Okay,
children.
start right there. Because so this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying where the states be trying to pocket a lot of money because you know a lot of states now are minus the budget. So in New Jersey, they still go by the regular guidelines. They're not going by COVID-19 guidelines. So
Right.
even though they're getting this extra money from the federal government, they're not giving it to me because I'm laid off due to COVID-19. They still saying, well, you still get over 1,000 a month, so you don't qualify. But I'm fucking laid off because of COVID-19. I should be getting that pandemic EBT. So that's more money in their pocket.
No. You're right. You're right about that, Dana. Again, and why was PBT passed? And I'll tell you right now, because understand, a lot of states knew one thing: they could not afford. They couldn't afford to feed
Can
people.
people mute up? I mean, you doing something in the
Y'all
background?
mute up, y'all mute up. Um, they already knew that. Listen, we're not going to probably be able to afford to feed people. It was a Congress bill passed. I told you a lot of stuff was getting passed um, while people were getting hit and staying indoors. This was passed by the USDA 311 2020, referred to the Committee on Agriculture, and in addition to the Committee of Education. Y'all remember when the meat packing plants were closing up and different other stuff? Farmers were like, yo, we can't work anymore and do stuff. They're like, nah, we got y'all. We're going to write them checks for y'all. And so guess what? Them checks got written out for a period.
What is your issue with this?
No. Okay, so here's the issue, right? One, everybody's not going to get this check. That's like how you're paid into the system, but you're not getting.
No, I'm not getting the check because the state is not, even though I qualify for that pandemic EBT, but what the fucking states are doing, and this is a lot of states, they're
That's
pocketing
what
a lot
I'm
of that money
talking
from the
about,
federal
Dana.
government.
That's you're missing what I'm. Are y'all guys get what I'm saying?
I don't understand what you're saying. What is your gripe with it?
Okay, my gripe with it is this: if you're paying for the system to kick in and say, hey, I'm not being able to functionally feed myself and my family like I used to because y'all keep shutting down, laying off different X, Y, and Z, but now you're choosing. The government is selectively choosing who gets these cards. Not
State
that, hey,
is, not the federal.
well, guess, hey.
The
then that
federal
would-
said, okay, people cannot work. People are laid off because of COVID-19. The agriculture, a lot of meat factories are closing down because of COVID-19. Here goes some money to keep you afloat, and here go money for the state so you could give people pandemic EBT who got laid off due to COVID-19, right? Because now you're getting unemployment and you're getting the extra, that was the extra six. So when I went to apply for food stamps, instead of them they looked at the unemployment. But my thing is, in New Jersey, they're going by, if you are a single household, it's just you with no dependents, they're going by their actual welfare standards. I don't qualify even with unemployment because I make over 1,000. You have to make 1,000 or less. They're not giving me that money under the pandemic EBT, and I qualify for that, and they know it. So they are denying people the pandemic EBT. Say if the federal government gave the state of New Jersey 10 million, well, half of that million they're going to pocket for themselves, because they're going to say you're making more than 1,000 from unemployment, right? So you don't qualify for food stamps. But you're not supposed to use that. You're not supposed to use that as you're not supposed to use those requirements as a regular welfare requirement, because it's a different requirements, as you say, under the pandemic EBT. So a lot of states are not doing good by the money they're getting from the federal government.
So with that being said, and I want to see now, now I think we're coming on the table now. We're coming to the table. If you're a single person household, granted, you're not putting in the same hours, so you really can't eat effectively like you want to or do what you need to do. Now you're being affected. I feel like, and I'm telling you, that's when you're supposed to. That's when you're supposed to go to your state and shout out to Jonathan saying, "Hey, California is doing their own thing again." Like you said, they're pocketing that money. You've already paid the farmers to give the money to the states for the food.
No, that's not.
Let me speak as a farmer. Once the government gives me that money, I make you the food. I give it to you. Whatever the hell y'all do with that food and all them supplemental things, that's y'all business. What I'm saying is this: the states are pocketing. This is why we have these big Ponzi schemes where the people are not getting their supplements or their food or anything. Like if they're not going to give you PEBT.
Oh, okay, wait, you're confusing me, because you're saying two different things and you're trying to lump it into one. Now, you as a farmer, you're probably eligible to get money from the federal government to keep your farm up and running so that you could grow food and you could sell it to consumers. But me as a regular, I'm not a farmer, I'm a regular person, I'm unemployed. So when you're saying that pandemic EBT, I should be able to get food stamps so that I could go to that farm to purchase food, because you got money from the federal government to keep your farm open. And then the state welfare got money from the federal government to give people like myself food stamps.
Okay, so
Can I say something? Can I say something? A lot of companies were given money from the federal government to keep paying their workers while they closed down. So that created a food shortage in the stores, and the price of food has gone up.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. BMT, if you're talking about that, you're saying two different things. The price of food went up, but I asked you, is that pandemic EBT is for people such as myself who are laid off, who got laid off, who are unemployed? Is that for us to apply to get food stamps? Is that part of that?
Your income? Depending on your income, there are some places where it's. I think I'm just using general, but if you are in general, it's 80% of what your unemployment is. 80% of what you used to make. 80%, up to about $2,000. So if you're someone who was used to making, say $10,000 a month, and you get laid off, your maximum unemployment is $2,000. Right. So you probably would not qualify for the pandemic EBT just because you got laid off, because you still are getting $2,000 a month, the max. Whereas someone who was making, say, $10 an hour, now they're getting 80% of that. I'm gonna work with some numbers here. If they were making $500 a week, now they're only making $400 a week. So they wouldn't qualify.
No. And that's, your numbers are off with unemployment. I'm not making 80% of what I made. I'm actually making under 50%. It's reverse for unemployment. You're only getting really 20% of what you actually made. I get $504 a week. That ain't shit. I was making triple that per week, and that is the max. New Jersey has the highest amount of $700 a week. But what I'm saying is, they're going off of the welfare requirements, not pandemic requirements.
But again, see, that's why I said about the colon, the issue. We already know in the black community we got the worst food slop that they sell in our hellhole. And it's sad to say it's true. When you want good quality food, that 99-cent can or that 69-cent can of Mama's saturated fat green beans versus maybe Perfect Black probably actually want the good green beans that don't have all that nasty stuff in there. That $2.97 is going to make a difference, especially when you start buying the good cans. I know. I got 4 miles, 4 babies I got to feed. So what that EBT card ain't going to be really much worth shit for people who don't make what I make. And so that's what I'm saying. The issue happened. And I'm like, wait, you're only giving people a barely scratched surface of what that was actually given to your state. And you're asking people to make that shit work. I feel for you because you live in New Jersey, where that check that they give you, you can't really do too much with that shit, like live like you're supposed to live. So
right, because in order for you to get the max, you have to make over, let's say, $50K. Some people, if you make $10 an hour, you probably only getting no more. You're getting less than $200 a week from unemployment. So you see, so it's where you fall. It's how they calculate what you were making before. So I was making a hell of a good salary. So I get the max amount, but that max amount ain't shit with unemployment. Like I said, that's only 20%, if that, of your salary. But I get what you're saying as far as the pandemic. That ain't nothing either. I mean, I'ma still survive or whatever. However, if I got laid off because of COVID and the federal government gave my state money for pandemic EBT, which i.e. food stamps, then I should be getting food stamps. But they denied me because they're going off of welfare requirements, not pandemic requirements. So they're pocketing that extra money. So you got to be like damn near homeless if you just a single person to get food stamps.
Here's where I talk about the colon issue. The issue is if I can't afford quality food, y'all getting what I'm saying? Like me and the show just
right.
If I can't afford quality,
what is the difference? What are the new pandemic requirements, income wise? What are they?
Is it if you're laid off due to COVID? Shouldn't that be the requirement that you should get it?
So now shit, they got listen, if you're an immigrant, you got a better chance of getting it than most people in the US.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just showing y'all all these people are going to be gunning for it.
Wait, let me throw this in there because this is a health question that you asked, because not only food, you're talking about now I don't have private insurance, right? Now I have Medicaid, and you get to pick if you want Aetna or if you want Horizon or whatever, right? But that's still state funding. And it's nice that's good for preventive health, but I'll be damned, that's what I have now. The Medicaid is cute. The first time I have that, but now that when I go to a doctor and I'm used to certain prescriptions or I'm used to doing this, and they're saying, well, it don't cover that because this is state. So right now I already have a plan that, all right, I'm out to in a couple more months X out of this Medicaid shit and just pay for private out of pocket because I'm afraid to be on fucking Medicaid. God forbid if I get struck down with some type of sickness or get in a car accident and I'm in critical condition in a hospital with Medicaid. That's a frightening thing. So you're talking about colon cancer. Yeah, they could probably check you, but they only want to check you if you want the state insurance, if something shows up. As opposed to private insurance, I just want a colonoscopy. Well, your insurance don't cover that unless you have this issue already going on.
So let me say,
isn't a colonoscopy preventive?
Maybe when you reach a certain age, but like Chadwick, he was 43. I think you start getting colonoscopies when you're 50 or 45. So if you're 30 or 35.
I must got some good insurance.
You got TRICARE just like me, buddy. We you straight. Here's the thing about it, and this is why I'm saying where these conflict of interest of policies are going to start hurting people because this is just the breakdown for a family. Emergency meal program, mind you, this is for get help buying groceries while schools are closed. Is your child eligible for free or reduced price lunch? Oh, so that's low income schools. Okay. Did your school provide all meals free before school? Now, if they're talking about eating up these schools and closing them down, that's going to be an issue. Because guess what? You get probably bumped off. No, your child is not eligible. See how they just took that out? Your child is not eligible. If your child is not in these kind of schools, which they're going to be, which actually they've been shutting them down. If yes, do you receive basic food benefits? No, you need to apply for PEBT, WashingtonConnect.org. Good luck. Now, if yes, you will automatically receive a PEBT card. Shout out to Miss Gilliard for doing for our family. That's why, hey, you better find somebody who know how to work the system. Who is eligible? Students going to K through 12. This is for the children one. I got those. A school lunch program during the school year and is eligible for free, reduced price meals, or is attending a school where meals are free for all students. Now, here is one of the most interesting damn things I saw and literally had a lot of people in an uproar. Y'all missed that one. Can immigrant households apply? Yes. PEBT benefits does not count as a public charge to immigrant households. PEBT does not change a parent or child immigration status. PEBT is for all children that are eligible for free or reduced price school meals. Most children and most immigrants, as we already know, and I'm not bashing at anybody who is an immigrant, they're getting this shit. They are going to be eating. They're going to eat because literally majority of them get onto these systems and they literally get put into them right off the rip.
They automatically get on welfare. DACA kids, on illegal immigrants, all that stuff in these sanctuary cities.
Right. So for children who receive free or reduced price meals, when schools closed in March, each family will get $3.99 per child. For families that
Is that per month?
Shit. For families that were enrolled in basic food or applied for school meal benefit, after schools close, each child will get less than that. Value depends on when you apply for food. So depends on when you apply your child for food. But these people, see that $3.99 per baby you popped out of your SNAP or you pushed out, that adds up.
Hey, some of us were not pushing kids out of anything, okay?
I'm just,
are you want to read the whole damn thing? I also want to say this too about the state Medicaid thing. When you want like state insurance, say if they don't cover something, I said, well, can I pay out of pocket? And you can't even pay out of pocket for what they don't cover because that would be that doctor could get in trouble. That's illegal. And I'm like, that's some BS. I'm like, I'm not going to sit up here and get a low value care. You know what I'm saying? And I'm paying cash for it. Like you can't even pay cash for stuff they don't even cover.
Getting pretty rough, though. I'm just, like I said.
No, but we're talking about health. And I get it with the food. But the food, you know what? You're talking about food that's been in communities for decades. That's number one. So this little bit of money for the pandemic assistance, but what is the quality of food? Because you probably have horrible quality of food where you lived at. That hasn't changed. Maybe it got worse over COVID-19. But now you're talking about a majority of people, who are eating less, who lost their private insurance, and they got to rely on state insurance. And you speaking of colon cancer, are you going to check me properly or do proper blood work? And I can't pay out of pocket for extra care. That's a scary thing.
Well, see, they've already that's the thing about it. And I'm so what I'm seeing is this, and follow me with this. They've already released the checks for the money. Now they already released the cards and the money for food. Next, I believe on the checkoff list is going to come medical. Okay.
But I think, and also reading what you put up there, those are for people who have children. And they don't say they didn't say anything about people who don't have children. that qualify for the pandemic EBT, because you're talking about schools,
Dana?
kids who get free lunch.
Now, see, that's a big issue, Dana, because a lot.
I can guarantee you, men ain't gonna get it, and if
See,
they do, it's gonna be really little.
no. See, but that's the thing about it. A lot. That's one reason why I did bring up this issue is because for people who are in school, who are literally, either single or they raise their children, and hey, my work schedule, I can't really afford to have a family because I can really afford to feed myself. This is drastically going to change up a lot of people's lifestyle. But however, for certain groups or backgrounds, this is going to definitely give them more of a vantage point edge because I literally had a person who wasn't, fluent in English. They were asking me, and they were right to ask me, like, Mr. Johnson, how do you activate this card? And I was like, oh, well, wait, how'd you get that card? Oh, yeah, I got two of them. I said, what, two of them? I said, well, I'll help you activate the card. But I was very amazed that he had two cards. But I know some people who are like had to come back home from school or they barely, they lost a lot of hours at the either, certain jobs or, they can barely, keep their fridge really, stocked. So I empathize with what Dana's saying because, like I said, I got family and I got property up there in Massachusetts. You think I can afford to live up there right now? Hell no.
Well, and honestly, with all these extra stuff on all this extra welfare stuff, people who are used to receiving these assistance, that's just going to just give them more incentives to stay on it. My situation is not like people who are already receiving public assistance. Like I'm not in a crisis, but I'm just being that when you do, like for the first time, me getting Medicaid and I'm seeing how the system works. And I'm saying to myself, well, damn, no wonder when you see Black people, Hispanic people who have high cases of COVID-19 because they have pre-existing conditions, because look at the type of care that they're receiving and look at where they live at with the quality of food. I'm fortunate enough to where I could say in a couple of months, I'm going to get rid of that damn Medicaid because it's not worth it and pay for private insurance. Majority of people cannot say that, but I'm just looking at how the system works. And I don't understand with people who are getting assistance from the system, how can you constantly stay in the system? Because you're getting shortchanged.
But here's the thing about it, Dana. If the gap is getting further and further apart, and we're talking about shutting down certain stuff and gentrifying other stuff, how do you think this terraforming is going to work out for certain people if some people are already going to be getting locked into these systems and other people are like, yo, I can really keep up with the system 2.1. So you trying to move into system 2.6, I can't go into that shit. Like some people can't afford. I know some people who are now in their 30s and they don't have health insurance, and I'm like, what the hell? Like,
right. And that's why they were able. That's why a lot of people were happy for Obamacare, because you could purchase insurance at an affordable price, private insurance. But that's like if you're working or whatever. But if you're not even working, whether if you work somewhere and they don't have insurance, you could get Obamacare or something like that. But you're not working, so you have to automatically get on Medicaid. So that's what I'm saying. Majority of people are in a tight situation, but then you have a lot of people that are used to being in the welfare system and relying on the state for benefits. This is really a leg up for them because they like receiving state benefits.
Yep.
Because going back what me and Perfect Blacksmith was saying, with people on Section 8, people receiving welfare, people receiving food stamps, those are three different sectors. And some people get all three. Some people get one out of the three. Yeah. But how can you stay on something for 5+, 10+ damn years? You have no intentions on coming off that shit. So this benefits them.
There are people that are my age and there are women that are my age that have never had anything other than Section 8. Literally.
Right. And can you imagine? They ain't trying to pay no $1,500, $1,700, $2,000 a month in rent because they never had to.
And I feel bad for for people who were like Dana and other people who live in a community where they have a Whole Foods, but those EBT cards can actually be beneficial because you can still eat healthy. But in a community where there are no Whole Foods, and I see them, the eating habits are not good, and it is evidenced in the obesity.
Right.
Now, one of the
So giving those EBT cards ain't gonna do to just kind of just make it worse. It's gonna
Right.
make it
I'm
worse.
saying
True.
is that the only thing I've been trying to say, and I think Joe was trying to say it, but because they shut down the manufacturing of food supply houses, there's a shortage of meat. When there's shortages of food, that means prices go up. Price of food has gone up, not just for the people who are on welfare who are getting the EBT card. Is going up for everyone. Everyone right now is sitting up there going into the stores, and you're not finding the supply of meat. You're not finding the supply of vegetables because these migrant workers that normally do all the picking of the food are getting sick and they're having to be quarantined. So what you're finding now in a lot of places, if you can find a farmer's market, if you can go there, you can find healthy food. If you go to Halil market, Halil is a Muslim market.
You mean halal?
Halal. It's a Muslim market. They have their way of killing the animals was a little bit
But they
more
just say a prayer
sanitary.
before they kill them.
It was a little bit more sanitary. The meat markets. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. We have stockyards. I grew up seeing them slaughter animals all the time. I've actually had to skin a rabbit once. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But in these meat packing places, the level of hygiene was horrific, and they ask them just shut it down, shut the stuff down. Let's get these places cleaned up, and then we'll come back with limited production. So when I sit up there and I go to the store, I have $3. Me, my $3, 2 19-year-olds and 1 18-year-old. We all are size 4s. We all weigh about 135 pounds. We're all 5'7". So yes, I instill it on my kids to stay thin. I had to fight tooth and nail because yes, in the Black community, you got to have some booty. You got to have some booty. Usually with that booty comes,
you can still be thin with booty.
I mean, come on, y'all.
People need to stop eating meat anyway because that meat got nothing but chemicals, which causes cancer in you anyway. So maybe with the high prices of food, maybe people will start eating more healthy. I don't know. Where I'm at, I really don't see it. I really don't see the prices going up like that. I really don't see a shortage. If you had bad habits before, you're going to have it now, whether prices go up, down.
So let me throw this last one at you, and I want to throw this towards D. Darrell. Since he's back now. Literally, I'm not sure a lot of people know what is killing so many people in Lake Charles after Hurricane Laura. A lot of people have started to die off in Lake Charles, and the fact that people are dying is pretty much closest to Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah,
where they're going to have to start moving. Mind you, Hurricane Katrina badly devastated Louisiana. I remember we had a few kids getting displaced all over the U.S. and families. With the way how the economy is going right now, the food shortages and everything, this is definitely going to be a strain, especially when people are dying out over there. So they have to start maneuvering them. And if we're having to send out EBT cards and stimuluses to keep people just above, this is going to be a definite big scar that we're going to have to start looking at. So, D. Darrell, the topic right there, the final topic. Go ahead. You can lead off.
All right. Well, this one pretty much hits home to me because that's my home state and so on. So, what I have found from relatives and friends in the area, particularly between the Lake Charles and Lafayette area, and also in Texas, and East Texas got hit hard too around the Beaumont, Port Arthur area. They got hit pretty hard, and a lot of my family members had to evacuate. And they left to go. Some of them went to Louisiana and northern Texas, East Texas, and so on. Pretty much what I can say is that it's to me. I kind of hear what you're saying with the Katrina thing because I'm just gonna say the infrastructure is just not there in Louisiana as far as them, having the dams and all that other different stuff that they need and the levees and so forth. And so they have still not learned from Hurricane Katrina as far as creating and investing in the infrastructure like they were supposed to. And just like in New Orleans, because New Orleans didn't have infrastructure and so forth, they claimed and many people talked about the levees being blown up and so forth. But there's just a lot with the I think they're called the Army environmental, I think environmental engineers or whatever, corp or whatever.
Army engineers.
The what?
Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, the Army Corps of Engineers. They have yet to produce a plan, or I would say invest in that as they're supposed to. So I blame it on the state because they have not learned. You would think after Hurricane Katrina, they would have done the necessary things that would prevent the damage that could occur if a Hurricane Katrina or greater would come about, and they failed to do so. So that's to me, that's where the problem starts.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I can tell you, as a veteran myself, I wasn't in the Army Corps of Engineers, but I can tell you that the military is not going to do anything without the request of a local government. So if it's not being done, it isn't because the Army Corps of Engineers hasn't invested. It's because the local government hasn't requested.
Would that be when policy and symbolism start to clash? Because we've seen stuff like this where we don't want Trump and the federal government involved versus, hey, we need help, we need food, we need stuff in here to help our people now.
Well,
you get what I'm saying? This is where the policy versus the symbolism will come in. I could give a shit about that man in the office, but if I know that Perfect and his doggone platoon can help us get us back somewhat stable, keep the water back, drain some of the city's water, the water back out, and you know what I'm saying? That's when we're like, hey guys, we need that. Fuck that dude. I need the governor to get your head out your ass. It's not about pleasing your friends. We're suffering.
They're not going to do that because you're talking about Rail in Texas. You're talking about a conservative state, and they're not going to ask the federal government to do anything. They're just not going to do it. They believe so much in free enterprise and capitalism that they feel that even natural disasters can be solved by it. So they're not going to call in. They're not going to call in the feds unless there's a riot, and namely riots by black folks.
Abbott will take money. Abbott will take money in a heartbeat. I will tell you that. Yeah, he'll take money in a heartbeat, as long as he's not worried about the strings attached to it. That's all he's worried about.
Well, who is Abbott? I don't know who that is.
That's the governor of Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's looking at these two storms like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. I mean,
yeah, but what is he doing with that money?
He will probably give it to his crony capitalist friends, and they will become billionaires.
Has he asked for the Army Corps of Engineers to come in?
Not yet. Not in Texas. They're still evaluating. There you go. Yeah, they're still evaluating, but they are asking for a federal emergency relief for housing. They did do that.
The point that I want to make on that, he's asking for
what they'll do is take a small percentage of that money to make it appear like they're doing a lot, but the vast majority of that money is going to go to other people, or they're going to funnel it through government contracts for their own people.
Hence the reason why they didn't ask for specifically the Army Corps engineers, because asking for that means they don't have no money to funnel nowhere. Somebody's coming in to actually do the work. They
Right.
want the money so they can refunnel anywhere that they want.
Right.
Let me first off give a shout out to the super chat from Kai, the $7 super chat. Thank you, Kai, so much for that. And I want to kick it over to Dana about this, because Hurricane, like D. Darrell just said and Michelle said, this is the closest thing to Katrina right now, and people have been dying. Even after it, we're looking at not the hurricane that's killing them. Shout out to Dana for the $20 super chat sticker. Thank you so much, love, for that. People are now being relocated. I'm not sure. Are they already started relocating people? But I remember the governor already said, hey, y'all need to get out. I can't. We can't do nothing with y'all.
Yeah, 6,000 people that are basically refugees in New Orleans right now, and New Orleans ain't doing too well after Katrina anyway.
Orleans go. You got to just let that damn place go. It's always getting flooded, man. It's like the damn
because they haven't done anything to prevent it.
But
they
they're
haven't
saying
done anything.
Electricity and water will not be restored for several weeks in Lake Charles.
Yeah, people will be dead by then.
Okay.
So ain't nobody going again.
So when you don't have water, when you don't have running water, people can live. What is it? 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food.
Barely.
You can go. You can't go. I mean, that's pushing it. Like,
if they got Section 8, they could go relocate somewhere else.
No, you goddamn redliner. Be quiet. Be quiet, redliner.
I'm not the redliner. The government.
Lake Charles, as of 2010 census, the population was 71,993. I think he says 5. In 2010, the population density was 7,011.8 people per square. The racial makeup of the city was 47% white, 47% African. Wow, that's literally almost half and half.
Yeah, but that is actually more blacker than that. But there are a lot of people who are mixed race that they in the black community, but they'll put other.
They Creole, y'all.
They Creole. They Creole. So it's actually more like 49 to 50%. But it's a different culture.
Oh no, good question, T Black. You said been observing your channel, trying to figure out when the business takes place. Well, us just literally going over politics, that's business. Us going over handling of funds, that is business. Actually, us going over pretty much displacement of government and as well as state funds, that is literally all dealing with business.
Can I say something to that? It's not so much. Yeah, it's that what you're saying, BMT, and it's also you have D. Darrell, who is a therapist. You have Nichelle, who is an attorney. So it's an opportunity for you to network. So it's not all about a business transaction. We're just discussing topics, some solutions, but basically discussing topics. But these are people in different fields that you can network with. That's business.
Yep.
Right. Like,
and what business? There's no other business bigger than government. Government is the biggest business we have.
Right. And if you are sitting up here listening to this show, you can hear we're talking about areas that have problems. And guess what? Businesses solve those solutions. So we're sitting up here right now talking about the Hurricane Laura. Guess what? There's a business opportunities out the yin yang for those that want to go down and help them rebuild in Lake Charles.
I am willing to tell you right now, like I do home renovating. I'm telling you right now, somebody in their mind is licking their lips right now saying, damn, I'm just waiting for them to drop or drain some of that water. Or if I'm crazy enough, I'm going to go invest in a water pump. Perfect will tell you, and so will D. Darrell in the show. There are some civilian companies, contractors, they will risk to go there and say, hey.
They're already there, I bet you. They're already asking. They probably got contracts and get money.
they will offer civilians contracts. Say, hey, Michelle, do you need your legal office cleaned out? Yes, boom, I'm here.
I
can bring it out.
guarantee you, before that hurricane landed, just the weather forecast, it was companies already calling mayor's office, the governor, senators, or whatever. I need a contract just in case for XYZ, so they could be put on a list or something.
Yep.
So yeah,
it always works like that. Like when I told when COVID hit, that's actually how me and Perfect met on Profit when we were talking about our companies and businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything that me and Perfect and Profit talk about, literally, if any black man had jumped on, you probably make it 60 to 80K right now. Literally, but now those are the top businesses that are being requested right now. And so it's these kind of talks, the reason why they're not the most bustling talks, because that would mean you would have to go do further research and investigate. And so when you're talking about grassroots, they tend to get overlooked, but these are the fundamental building blocks, because when you're starting business, you're going to have to start dealing with state and government. You're going to start dealing with state and federal. I'm sorry, like you can't get around that. Like they're going to start picking at you, especially when you start climbing. So when we're looking at PEBT, that's your taxes, that's your money. And I'm telling you right now, they sure do. They didn't even matter if COVID had hit the state, they sure did hit up every owner. Hey, don't forget to pay your taxes. I'm like, what? They should be closed down. How you still want to pay my taxes? I don't care. You better find a way. So a lot of these things that are going on, that are happening, and you asked a fair question, Black T, because these things affect a lot of our finances. That's why you heard a lot of us bringing up the financial and the laws and the policies, because these things do matter to us. That should be the high value talk that everybody, especially in Black America, we should be talking about. Is how is this thing my job, my lifestyle, my family, and my legacy? That should always be I could give a damn about what's going on in the bedroom. Fuck that. I need to know what's going on, what happened, minute I wake up in the morning and turn on that light bill. Because I ain't sure y'all been looking at the electricity. The electricity bills have been going up. And ain't nobody saying shit about that damn motherfucker.
Yeah, too many people worried about if you married, or if you got a high value woman, or if you a high value man, or how much money you make. Like they worry about labels and not about legacy.
I'm worried about that damn light right now. I'm like,
I can tell you there are some opportunities out there. That's why I'm glad I'm in one of these fields that is kind of recession proof and I guess COVID proof. Because during this whole thing, man, I've gotten a lot of opportunities, and I'm busy. I've never been busier in my life, and that's why I'm pushing for more Black folks to get into the STEM fields.
Right, because
I'm in IT, and I can tell you right now, even during this, I'm being heavily recruited. People, I can't tell you how much.
You got Elon Musk. He's creating a chip to put in people's brains.
Oh Lord!
And he's looking for more tech engineers to help.
Oh yeah.
Join his. I forgot what he company.
You got to be honest about this. See, here's the thing about it. When it comes to, because we're about to wrap it up, we actually did very good today, staying on topic. I told you we're getting better with our power, and this is what we need. That again, when it comes to these kind of business talks, these more so happen not on YouTube. They happen behind closed doors. I'm telling you right now. These kind of talks happen behind closed doors, where you would have these type of people, and we'll put on the table what we do. And we're going to try to figure out how do we benefit off of each other and what can we do to get to the next level. But then when people say, well, where are they at now? They stop coming on these channels. We still stay here because we want to say, hey, these are what we need to look at. I know a lot of y'all didn't know about PEBT. A lot of y'all damn sure weren't talking about the hurricane that is affecting a lot of people. But we got a lot of blacks are in Texas and in Louisiana. A lot of people weren't talking about the policies and the symbolism. Or literally a lot of these things that are going to be changing your paycheck. If you're not talking about that, or your friends or family ain't talking about that, you might start need to be changing up your circle because these things are going to definitely be hitting you at the last second. At least you want to be ahead of the curveball. Not about entanglement or what Will or Jada are doing or some celebrity. But I can promise you, that's where they hire a financial advisor to go sit down with them and go over their escrow early in the fucking morning before they leave outside that door. That's
Right.
that's what they talk about before they ain't talking about what's the latest trend. That's power moves. So go ahead. We can end it off with who want to end it off so that way we can cancel it. I don't have to talk. I already said my piece, so that way we can go ahead and get the hell out of here. Then I can do the commercials. So who want to
Me.
go ahead?
As I said, I'm very passionate about this, ending qualified immunity. Why am I very passionate about that? Because my grandmother's grandfather stood in Congress and said, look, all of you people who think that the Bill of Rights does not apply to state government, you miss the 14th Amendment. So when anytime you're interacting with a police officer or anyone who works for the government, whether they're state, federal, or local, and I say that because a lot of people don't understand, city government, county government, that's local. They are bound to respect your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights, your Sixth Amendment rights, your First Amendment right, and your Second Amendment right. It's very simple. States can have some regulation, reasonable regulation. But at the end of the day, the Constitution is paramount. And when we are listening to these politicians talking, we should be listening about what are they saying about our constitutional rights. What are they saying about the 16th Amendment and the 17th Amendment? Because we weren't always taxed. What are they saying about lowering the age of voting? Because I'm not sure if I want these crazy kids, younger kids, to vote. These are the things that we should be listening to when we talk about policy. I mean, are you for closing down churches just because there's a pandemic? These are things we need to be listening to. And we need to think about ways to make money when we're listening to these politicians sell us a bunch of new government programs. So with that, y'all, have a blessed Sunday.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. Why you got my picture up there, honey? Can you go to somebody else? I'm like, I had my head turned on. Look, I'm like,
wait for her to speak.
I'll go because I
Go ahead, perfect. Go ahead.
Well, I could say this, in terms of politics, I think Michelle is right, and this is the reason why I say that I'm keeping my vote local this year, because neither one of the candidates is going to do anything for Black folks. Hell, we got one candidate who specifically told us to our face she ain't gonna do a goddamn thing for us while asking us for our vote. Look, and we can ill afford to tolerate politicians like that anymore. Look, we're going to just say, keep our vote local because I believe in voting. And when you're voting local, that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, especially when you got two idiot candidates who are on the ballot. So it's not even really going to make a difference. So if Trump is reelected, it's really not going to make a difference to the lives of Black folks. It's just not. I'm not for him, but it ain't going to make no difference. But if we elect a Dixiecrat and a so-called Black woman who keep calling herself a Black woman, who didn't identify herself as being a Black woman until she started running for president and all of that, then we're hurting ourselves. So keeping our vote local, because neither one of those candidates going to do nothing for us. So definitely get out there and vote, but vote locally.
Thank you so much for that, brother.
I
Always. Let me go ahead. I don't know why I keep going back to Dana. I keep tripping. Go ahead, Dieter.
Okay.
Ahead,
Well, I like to say I definitely enjoy the this particular meeting every Sunday. It's definitely been entertaining, also informative. It's not one time that I come here that I don't learn something new that I didn't know about, and I do appreciate the stance that each person presents. I just want to think that just overall, I think that as far as us as a people, we have to be very hard line when dealing with politicians and dealing with these guys. They've gotten around for so long, getting off not doing anything for us and expecting us to give so much back to them in regards to our vote. Our vote is very valuable. And I think our community, we don't truly understand how valuable that vote really is. That vote is so valuable, they try to figure out ways to incarcerate our men and label them as felons so they can take it away from us. There's all types of things, gerrymandering and all types of things that they use to try to nullify our vote. But again, we have to look at things as far as both parties. We should not have a loyalty to anybody. We should not. I don't care how. I don't care if they even look like us. And from either party, we have common interests. And if you are not talking about the interests, I don't care how you look. I don't care about you being the first black president or the first black senator from Oklahoma or wherever else, or and so on. That does no good. Yeah, that benefits you, but it doesn't benefit us as a people. I'm more about the tangibles. I'm all about the legislation. I'm all about policy and legislation that exclusively benefits black people. And if you're not talking about that, then I really don't see a point of us having a discussion. So that's all I have to say. Appreciate you for having me on, BMT.
Thank you so much for that, brother. I always appreciate you. You already know you always have a seat at the table, so that way we can always have um, the discussion at the hour power. You're greatly appreciated. We always got to have a therapist here to actually look at and analyze from a therapeutic point of view. So thank you so much. All right. So
Okay.
other than
Peace,
that,
brother.
peace, man. Let me go ahead and do the advertisement. You already know we're
I was
last.
going to say my little last comment.
You want to just sit here, just sit and look cute while we do the just do the commercial. Let's just do the commercial, Dana. So anyway, you guys, I would like to thank you guys for coming through. Um, I got my homie, my day one A1, the real Dana and me. I think we've been doing this, especially shout out to the OG Michelle. Um,
Oh, Black Tea, if you want a topic, just send in a little a little, but not little, but send in a donation and email BMT.
I literally that's literally one of the perks. Uh, we usually whenever people and you can ask Jonathan, you can ask everybody. Usually, usually whenever they donate, we provide the service of whatever topic.
Right.
With
But
it.
I think he did donate too tonight, Black Tea. I think
Yeah,
he
like
did.
I'm saying, like if he tells me what he
Yeah,
wants,
become a channel member. That's a good perk too. I think people who become channel members will automatically have
yeah,
the leisure of bringing topic suggestions and you actually talking about it.
hmm
Can I just intersect one thing about Black people and how we should support each other?
yes,
Um, because don't I had a problem earlier where it was certain YouTubers coming onto another YouTube platform, which is cool, but we really need to start taxing niggas, um, man or woman. And because we have a problem with Black people, we don't support each other, we don't work together, we don't organize. When you look at every other group of people, they do, except for us. That's a big problem. So if you come on somebody platform, and come on their panel, bless them with a little donation, especially if you come from a larger platform. Don't think because you come from a larger platform, I should be grateful. Because I know people like a O'Shea, like the Star Report. When they go to people platforms, they could just be in the chat. They're automatically dropping 100 just to say hi and then 24 question. So, you're not too big or too small to support content creators. And that's all I'm gonna say because I'm being very nice tonight.
yes. Thank
You need
you,
to just have
thank,
one,
thank you, love, for
one.
that.
Maybe I'll do it on my platform. I just need one fuck show
Let me know.
on my
I will be there whenever you turn up. And that's the thing about it. While a lot of people like to ask me, um, why people like to ask me, thank you, Black Tea. And I want y'all to understand is like, a lot of the people that you see come on to my panel, they donate. I literally made that a staple. I've had it where a lot of my panelists, people from the side, like Dana has told me, she said, "Listen, stop letting them up on your platform, Joe. Like they're not donating, so why should they be speaking and they're not putting in, especially on the stuff that we're speaking on and doing." Shout out to Black T for becoming a member, and I got to let y'all know, like I really I put my heart into this, and because I want to see us win. I believe that we deserve that. We deserve a fair shot at everything that we do, especially as Black folks. And if we're gonna make opportunity, we're gonna have to make opportunity for ourselves. Y'all looking for handout? That's just not coming. Um, but let me go ahead and showcase to you what a lot of people. I'm not sure, but a lot of people know what we do. Um, but first off, where's it at? Our power. So first off, as when you join the channel, if you actually do become a member, shout out to Raw B. When she first when she was helping me do this, literally by joining the channel, you have access to the platform. You have access to the platform. So that way, I don't really buck against people who are donating that are the channel members coming up and actually speaking with the BMT crew, actually talking, being respectful, and literally we can actually have conversations. It also affords you the right to actually, actually say, hey, can we talk about this topic, or can you set up a time for this topic? Sure. And I do get in contact. I do network with a lot of the co-hosts, Dana, um, Robbie, Nichelle, Jay. We also have Healthy. Shout out to Healthy. He's going to be having a baby later on down the line. We also have Mobile. We also have Santi. We have a lot of men and women on the platform. So we have a lot of people who are members. Kai is one of the newest, and shit. She killed it out there. She's our analytics. I love all of them. I love my brothers, and I love my sisters and my ladies. You know what I'm saying? I love all of them with all of my heart. BMT 2 is relationships. We literally have things that talk about bedrooms, relationships, all that said stuff. I really don't too much care to do that, but a lot of people like asking me on the side about a lot of things about bedroom and relationship stuff. I just give it to them straight. The last one, this is the more costly one, but surprisingly enough, people actually pay me cash at me for this. They want to know about firearms. They want to know about investments. They want to know about things. These are more secluded talks that they get into. When it comes to getting things, having certain talks, I can go to the rifle ranges and talk to armed instructors. We can go over classes and stuff, things that you want to know about or get into, especially when it comes to these kind of things about survival, makeshift things. We go into that. The next thing that we also have is the Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon. Y'all have built the Patreon to something fierce. It's a no holds bar. We've done had call girls. We've done had political talk. We've had quite a few things pushing the mantle of YouTube here. And literally, y'all literally, I don't even make the topics. Y'all do. I just do the topics. So that's on y'all. What y'all do, I just support and actually go over that. The last but definitely not least, we also have Negro Shade Radio. I gotta go to that later. I gotta get over that. But Negro Shade Radio is actually, we now have a podcast radio station that literally is for y'all, where it's more so raw, uncut, unfiltered. If you're into us doing podcast radio, I have the lovely Dana. She's going to be going over into podcast radio. I cannot wait because I know she's going to be chomping off some necks, and as well as giving some good political lessons and details that we need to be on game about. So, but that's all for you. That's for you, because y'all endorse and make sure that we can do what we do.
Did you
You,
promote Raw Beats channel?
I'm about to go over all the stuff. I'm about to go
Can
over
you
all.
wrap it up?
Thank you. That's see why I love her. She keeps me in line. She keeps me in line. I would not know where I would be. Y'all can't tell me time Dana choose me out over the show. Shout out to D Darrell, the therapist who came through. D Darrell has done some interesting topics, as well as he's made some of the most hottest songs here on YouTube. I love when D Darrell makes a new song. I hope he makes me some music too. But literally, D Darrell goes over and talks about a lot of stuff about what we like to think about love. It's actually not what you think. He actually is a licensed therapist, an actual licensed therapist. I don't know why y'all don't go talk to him. He can give y'all some counseling. We next have the real Dana. Um, she goes over a lot of stuff. Magados, manning up. She also talks about a lot of topics that literally deal with political law, social justice. She also goes. I forgot what those ladies are called. 100K investment, but she hits on a lot of things that literally I feel y'all should be getting into. Go over there and catch her. Number 9. You can also catch her sometimes talking on Star.
Click the home because it's the way it's because you got and then you see how it's broken down to what I talk about.
When did you do that?
I started.
You
I gotta start. I gotta do some more, but I was just like a
go organize mine.
tester. It's just a tester to Dana with the data.
You gonna organize mine?
You just do channel customize and you set it up like that. So I have Magados podcast. Actually, me and Abanah will be doing a podcast probably September 15th. We're going to be in studio. I talk about ADOS politics. Me and Judge Joe Brown with Man Up, and Dana with the data. I haven't done a live in a minute, but because I'm trying to get my other channel together, that content. And
do you love yourself? I can't wait. Yes. Huh? Do you love yourself? I kept wondering why she kept asking.
Yeah, it's like it's nothing to do with politics. It's all about wellness and healthcare and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's right.
So look out for that. But yeah, subscribe to the Real Dana.
So subscribe to the Real Dana and join her and become a member, and you can get some exclusive content. See, she has a join button, and literally for $4.99 a month, you get a loyalty badge or loyalty glasses. How come my shit ain't that nice? So you can go join Dana for $4.99. Next, we have Raw B Privilege. Oh yes, Raw B. Love her to death. Literally, she goes over a lot of stuff when it comes to talking about mental health, families, men and women. She also goes over politics. She went over the hurricane. I know she's in that area. I hope her and her family are safe in Arkansas. She talks about. I go over there every Tuesday with fighting the sleep, and we just have a good time. Dana's usually over there. Her and Robbie have them damn fans that they keep throwing in our face, but it's okay. It's a really nice atmosphere. I love being over there and talking with her. Definitely, she's definitely so well grounded, and also you could join her. I joined her. Let me make sure I go her up and join Dana before Dana says anything else. And literally support the ladies, support the butterfly effect. And also she has a anti-bullying campaign. Who's the next one? Man of Tomorrow came through, but I knew he likes talking about politics. Man of Tomorrow is literally he talks about policies, politics, holding these goddamn people in the community accountable. He does not like dating coaches at all. So if y'all are for dating coaches, y'all better not go to him, because I promise you, he will curse you out. He's about policy, and literally he wants people to be held accountable.
Is he talking about YouTube dating coaches?
Oh yeah, he hates them.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
He hates them with a passion.
I'm like, if you're a grown ass person, you need to come to YouTube for dating advice. Like, as a man, like, come on, dog.
He hates that.
And trust me, these YouTube people who claim they're some type of coach, they're not. But whatever.
Yeah, like I said, see, if Dana was on her podcast, she'd be eating that up. So You guys, I have to wrap it up. I don't want to go over the time, and we're about to hit the time mark. So love you guys. I'm BMT. You can always hit me up on my email at blackbrother123@gmail.com. I thank you guys for coming through. Thank you guys for the donations and the support. You guys make our power what it is, and literally it grows more and more because you give us the topics to talk about and hold us accountable as the future leaders that we need to be. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe. Peace.